Hi, everyone. I'm Deirdre Breckenridge, and welcome to Communication Makeover. Here's the problem, and maybe you've experienced it because it's a biggie. You're on stage, and all of a sudden, you're presenting, and you start to go off course. And you veer off a little bit and find yourself in this big rabbit hole. You're lost. How do you get back? What are you going to do to get yourself back to your home base? Well, that's where the coaching process comes in. In this episode, my friend Martin Waxman, who is a digital marketing strategist, he's a professor, he figures out through coaching how he can get back, how he can do it with grace, make decisions, and find a better way. So now you can tune in and be a part of the experience.
What we're going to talk about today is how to really add more focus and not go off on tangents a little bit more. So first, talk to me a little bit about that problem. Where have you seen this occurring? What have you observed so far when you've seen this?
Well, I think part of it goes to my attention span. And, it's, I noticed it a lot during the early days of social media, but really it's before that. And what I tend to do is I'll be going along a track, I'll see something or hear something out of the corner of my eye, for example, which is a little bit of a tangent. And then I'll go, "Ooh, that's interesting. Go there." And then before I know it, I have to kind of wind my way back just to get back onto the point that I was trying to make. And sometimes it's really good. Those anecdotes are really good because they add color,
Yeah.
they add flavor, they add a lot of perspective. Sometimes they're humorous. I like that. But sometimes they go on too long. And that's what I want to do. I don't want to lose it, but I want to be able to, in a way, control it more so that when I do veer off the side road for a second, I don't go down a path for 10 miles and then go, "Oh, I got to come back another 10 miles to get to where I was before." I want a quick detour.
Okay. I like that. That's a good picture. A quick detour.
Quick detour.
Don't want to go. I like how you said, I don't want to go 10 miles in. Okay.
Which I sometimes tend to do. And part of it is because you, part of it is, whenever you are speaking, it's
Hmm.
performative. There's
Yeah.
a performative aspect. And my background is performance. So I did in college study acting. I
Okay.
also, a long, 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 long time ago, was a comedian, not a great comedian, but so when I'm on stage or speaking, so
Yeah.
to speak, um, I like to I want to know that I can sort of capture people's attention in bursts. And if you just go straight along a narrative, sometimes I find it doesn't necessarily work for me.
Okay, so with your acting background, so you're familiar with the yes and principle of improv comedy.
I am, but no, just kidding.
Okay.
Yes,
So yes, so you just proved it right there. Okay, so that yes and principle, and just for those listening right now, that yes and principle is how all improv comedy is structured. It's the primary rule of improv comedy, so that you never negate, you never disagree with someone. You just go yes, and here's one level
right.
more outrageous in most situations, and it's just a flow scenario. So if I share anything from me, understand it's just a suggestion.
Yeah.
And it's just like we're trying something on from the mall. So
Okay.
I'm sharing, I may share a cute blouse of some sort. And if it fits you, then great.
I love
So
malls, by the way. So that's one of my favorite places.
fantastic.
I
Well,
like that.
let's keep going on down the adventure road just a little bit. Okay. So I think we were really onto something with this, not going 10 miles down the road, but just these quick little detours. Now, the first thing my imagination went to, do you like to travel? Do you like to drive much?
Yes, and it's very funny that you say that. So I've written a novel and a book of stories that I published.
Uh-huh.
The second book is called Everything in Winnipeg Begins in a Car. It's all about fictional adventures, how driving is so important to, well, I can speak for teenage boys long, long time ago. I
Yeah.
can't speak for everyone, but yeah. So driving and again, you know, you make that little turn or you try a different route. That's great. Much easier to get on without Google Maps because Google Maps likes to keep you going in one direction.
Okay. Okay. So it's better without GPS.
Yeah.
So when you're in that environment though,
Oh, okay.
let's go to that Winnipeg driving
Yeah.
environment. So how do you know when to detour a little stop, or ooh, that looks exciting, but ooh, that may be too far down the road? How can you tell in that environment what's okay to take a detour and what's not?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I don't know if I do know exactly unless there is a time constraint, like a
Okay.
really hard stop. So if I know I have to get to an appointment at 2 o'clock
Uh-huh.
and it's 1:52 and I see
Okay.
something interesting, I will stay on the straight and narrow.
I love that. That's beautiful. What else? How else? What's another way you know I'm gonna take a left at Albuquerque or I'm not? That's a Bugs Bunny reference.
Yeah, I know. Um, that's a tough one. So let me, I guess if it's something that I haven't noticed before,
Okay.
I might have been, and again, this goes to whether I'm presenting or say driving, because the driving metaphor is a good one. You're driving along and you have your certain route somewhere in the same way that if you're presenting, you have, say, your slides, that's
Mm-hmm.
your route.
Mm-hmm.
But then maybe you see something, could be a line on the slide, could be a way that you perceive the image, could be
Yeah.
maybe it's fall and you look up and there's a tree, since we're talking in the fall, there's a tree that is just, filled with these brilliant bright colors and go, oh, I didn't notice that. I wonder what's down here.
Okay. Okay, that's good. So how else? Let's go back to the road and in Winnipeg. You're
Okay.
driving along. How do you know I want to take a right turn? I want to exit the height. How do you know when to do that? And when like, ooh, that may be too much.
If I'm honest, probably a lot of it is just impulse, just in
Okay.
the second. And then kind of, trusting your gut, trusting your reactions, thinking, oh, boom, idea, I'm going to go here.
Okay, so
And so,
talk to me more about that. What let's go deeper. Let's go another layer deeper on impulse. How do you know when the impulse is good and how do you know when the impulse is bad? Because we have all kinds of crazy impulses. How do you know
yeah,
when it's a good one?
how do I know? I guess I probably some of the times I think I know, but I never know for sure. And maybe it's part of the danger of not knowing or the
Okay.
insecurity of not knowing necessarily whether this will work or not. Going back to improv, you want to make sure that you're going down a route and someone else will pick up the thread.
Well,
But
I think it's the same level of danger. You just don't know if they're going to pick up on the clues. You're just kind of
yeah,
going off. So are you saying that it's the element of the I don't know that's exciting that draws you in or makes you hesitant? Is it which one
uh,
would that be?
probably a little of both.
Okay.
And it depends, and the element of surprise, because
Okay.
again, if you drive the same route over and over again, or if you're delivering the same talk or lecture over, you've done it a few times.
Mhm.
Um, I think novelty is one of the elements that all humans are attracted to.
Okay.
Novelty and surprise. And so, it's a way of making myself more interested and hopefully conveying that to whoever I'm talking to.
Todd, I just loved how you got Martin to this awareness, a level of understanding. There was just something so magical about when you took the experience on stage and all of a sudden you opened him up to the driving and he could relate it to the book that he wrote. There's just something so interesting there. And this whole notion of the detour. Tell me what you were thinking when you were getting him to understand detour and smaller points versus going down that long rabbit hole.
Yeah, I love that transition of how he began. You could almost feel his frustration of, I see this out of, like he was explaining ADD to us, and you could feel the anxiety of it. Like, I just see this one thing, and all of a sudden, whoa, I've got to go down that road. The principle I'm always looking for is, where in their life do they already know how to do whatever this is? And I'm trying to figure out what's an area of anchoring that they already know the solutions to this problem. Because did you notice that even his tone of voice and everything, once we started talking in the context of driving in Winnipeg, I mean, he was no longer, I've got to explain ADD to, he was assertive, and he had a plan. He said, in this situation, it's this. And then, like, did you feel his assertiveness and his direction? Like, do you feel him come under control at that point?
Yes, I felt him coming together, finding his center, and really navigating from a place of certainty as opposed to, oh, I'm going down a hole and I can't find my way back. Yes, I saw that transition.
Yeah, it's interesting because in real coaching, you can see, a coach is really taking the clues off of the other person. And that's where I was setting up with as I was describing coaching. I'm just going to offer suggestions, and let's just see how that reacts with you. And as soon as he mentioned he had that book, I was like, whoop. I mean, I'm glad I didn't immediately go, whoa, but inside I was going, okay, here's we go. I'm going to play my cards real calm, but we're now on a path now. So Deirdre, stick with us, and everybody watching here, this just gets better. Watch this coaching process as we go. Now we see him starting to feel control, but we're about to get into solutions. And him, it's going to go one level higher over and over again. That's a comedian's joke that I just stole. So anyway, everyone, stick with us. We're going to be right back.